Good evening, live from Bethel Park High School. It's Friday Night Lights here on Oneburg. Glad you could join us on our Oneburg Facebook channel, Oneburg YouTube, or maybe you're listening back on our Spotify channel. I am Ed Troop, and joining me up here in the booth tonight, here at Bethel Park Blackhawk Stadium, is Mitch Montani and Greg Smith. And gentlemen, it's week 8 of the WPIAL season, and hard to believe that, first and foremost, that there's only 2 weeks left in the regular season. And it's crunch time for a lot of teams here in the WPIAL heading into these final 2 weeks. This is when things kind of start to iron out a little bit. Teams are clinching their playoff berths. They're starting to take shape of where they're going to be in the postseason. There's a lot at stake these last 2 weeks, Mitch.
Yes, very exciting stuff. A lot of conferences coming down to the wire in these last 2 weeks. It's when things really start to take shape for the playoffs, and in the playoff picture, teams start to file out. We'll see what happens. It's always fun this time of year.
And Greg, we always talk about these 7, 8, and 9 weeks of the regular season as our stretch run, and that's truly what it is. It's a stretch run to the playoffs.
Yeah, no kidding. And you're right. This is where the metal meets the road a little bit. Teams are vying for section championships. Teams are vying for their playoff livelihood. We're seeing some of the matchups we've been waiting for all season, and I know we've got a good one here tonight, and a list of a few extra ones that are good as well.
Yeah, we're going to have South Fayette against Bethel Park. That's going to be a great one tonight. Bethel Park 7-1 on the season, 2-1 in gentlemen, the best conference in high school football here in 2024, Class 5A, the Allegheny Conference. South Fayette 6-2, 1-2 in conference play. So this is a key conference game tonight for the South Fayette Lions. That's for sure. For Bethel Park, just another step in their season, which so far has been pretty fantastic. Other than one hiccup, a loss to Upper St. Clair last week.
Yeah, Bethel's had a great year. They're very senior heavy, very experienced roster, especially on offense. And they're having a great year. Barely lost that game against Upper St. Clair, who is stacked this season. This is just a stacked conference. I've had the chance to see South Fayette. You were there too when they played. I think it was Upper St. Clair that week. So they have a good roster too, and they have a shot at the playoffs just as well.
Yeah, being here last week, just to add into that, Ed, was here for the Upper St. Clair Bethel Park game. Yeah, it's Bethel Park. This is the stretch of their schedule here. It was Upper St. Clair last week, South Fayette this week, and still Peters Township looms next week for them as well. So Bethel Park has a chance to get right tonight, but as you mentioned, best conference in the WPIAL. Doesn't get any easier tonight with South Fayette.
We'll get to that game last and our picks here tonight on Friday Night Lights here on Oneburg. But first, we got our top 5 games of the week across the WPIAL. And Mitch, we'll start with you, and then we'll get Greg's thoughts as well. Probably the biggest game of the season, possibly, taking place tonight at Montour High School. The Spartans battling the Aliquippa Quips, who are 5-1 overall, 3-0 in the conference. Montour undefeated, 7-0, 3-0 in conference play. And, you know, in Class 4A, a lot will take shape after this game tonight. Aliquippa, in pretty much everybody's polls, whatever publication, including Trip Live that we work for, has the Quips number 1 and has Montour number 2, whether it's WPIAL or even in the state. The winner pretty much, Mitch, locks up the Parkway Conference. Aliquippa, for them, if they win, it'd be their 37th conference title. That is the most in WPIAL history. In fact, out of all the teams in the WPIAL, no one else has even come close. No one's even hit 30. How about that?
Yeah, Aliquippa, the most historic program in the WPIAL for football. I think we've kind of gotten to that point. Playing Montour, who has a senior-heavy roster too, and they are very, very good in that Parkway Conference. It's kind of cool to see a little bit of parity. Montour has a pretty good shot tonight. That should be an awesome, awesome football game.
And Greg, they are led, Montour is, by Trey Hopper, who's having a great year so far. He leads the WPIAL in passing with 1,800 yards, 1,844 to be exact. And Aliquippa, of course, Tiki Hayes. Now they put in Samir Brooks, who's been impressive on the season. The last time Aliquippa lost a conference game was in 2019.
Yeah, and it's going to be Ken Montour, stop Tiki Hayes, and Samir Brooks, right? That's quite frankly, I think the recipe to beat Aliquippa across the board. In about 5 years, no one has figured that out. Certainly Brooks and Hayes only part of some of that. But can Montour stop it? Mitch, you mentioned it. The atmosphere at Montour is going to be bonkers tonight. This is a game that Montour has waited for, probably circled on their schedule earlier in the season. Perfect season on the line for the Spartans. Can they do it tonight? We'll have to see.
For Montour, it would be their first perfect season since 2010. So about 14 years in the making for the Spartans. That'll be a good one tonight at 7 o'clock. Penn Hills, 4-4 overall, 2-1. Great. North Hills 7-1, 3-1. This game at North Hills tonight. The Indians have won 7 of their first 8 games since the first time since 2010. The winner of this game pretty much will go to second place in the Northeast Conference, and the winner likely will be in a front pole position to host the playoff game.
Yeah, and for North Hills, this is a team that Mitch and I think we had a chance to see them a couple times last year. They are growing into themselves. You saw it last year. They were, towards the end of the season, they were peaking at the right time, and to be able to carry over that success into this year, starting the season 7-1. Huge opportunity for them. But Penn Hill's always a tough team. Penn Hill's sometimes a little inconsistent, but you know the talent is there. You know that they can strike fast. Can North Hills withstand a streaky Penn Hills team, but a talented one nonetheless?
Yeah, Penn Hills has kind of had an interesting year. North Hills has had a successful year all the way through. Penn Hills' turning point was that win over Aliquippa, who we just talked about, giving them their first and only loss to this point on the season. So you got a streaky team versus a team that's been there pretty much the whole year. Should be another awesome football game.
Woodland Hills at Franklin Regional. Woodland Hills 6-2 overall, 4-0 in conference play. Franklin Regional 6-2, 3-1 in conference play. Of course, Franklin Regional, we saw them earlier this season. Mitch and Greg. Kyle Dupill is their star quarterback. He's one of the leading passers in all the WPIAL. Woodland Hills, of course, they got Scoop Smith, who's outstanding at the wide receiver position, and their quarterback, Cam Walter. Woodland Hills defense has also been very good this year.
Yes, they have. I actually got to see Woodland Hills as well. They played Shaler on a Saturday afternoon game. Shaler's having a tough season, so Woodland Hills took care of them pretty easily. But yeah, 2 teams that I've gotten a chance to see this year. I don't know. They got some strengths, some weaknesses, and another. I'm just thinking ahead and already giving myself anxiety when we have to pick these games at the end of this video. Got some tough matchups here.
Yeah, let's think about Franklin Regional. We saw them, 4 weeks ago, just get smacked by Upper St. Clair. Now, Upper St. Clair is maybe the best team in 5A, but just that Franklin regional team, since then has absolutely turned the corner. Huge win at Gateway. They've been really, really good, really consistent this year. Let's just talk about two. Maybe this is just the old part of me. Let's talk about how good it is to see Woody High back again. Absolutely. And back being sort of a prevalent force in the WPIAL football. And you're right, Scoop saying, I mean, this is a team that is just right now. I think breathing, it's beating with confidence. Capable that Hills get over the hump against maybe a little bit of a streaky team, but a good Franklin Regional team nonetheless.
Gentlemen, even though the 3 of us have spent a lot of time in this conference that we're going to be watching here tonight and calling here at 7 o'clock tonight on the True Live High School Sports Network, South Fayette, Bethel Park, we cover WPIAL football every week, the 3 of us. We are always reading up on it. And this one was a little bit of a surprise, our next game. We all looked at each other tonight and said, Southmoreland is undefeated? The Scotties are undefeated? Yes, Southmoreland, 7-0, 4-0 conference play grade. Elizabeth Forward 6-2, 3-1. They do battle tonight. A victory by Southmoreland would give them their first conference title since 1979. How about that?
Yeah, here we are bemoaning about Montour not having a perfect season in 15 years. Talking about the Scotties and a chance at a championship here. A banner in their gym to hang up there since 1979. Great opportunity for Southmoreland. But right now, Elizabeth Forward, this is a program that has been continuing to get better year after year. They are become sort of the higher class down there, and a big opportunity for Southmoreland. We'll see how they respond. Again, I think EF knows what's at stake here. Does the moment become too big for Southmoreland, and can they get over the hump here and get them that section championship they so deserve?
The Scotties feature a freshman quarterback, Mitch, and Anthony Smith, a freshman that has thrown for over 1,700 yards, almost 1,800 yards on the season. That's incredible. EF has some playmakers, too. This is going to be a good one tonight.
Yeah, Southmoreland, a program, I feel like in the stretch that I've been calling high school football for Trib, that is a program that's been on the rise constantly. At first, that 1979 number has not gone away. It was trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 1979, trying to win a playoff game for the first time since 1979. Now it's trying to win a conference championship for the first time since 1979. So cool to see programs like this have an opportunity not only to make the playoffs, but make a run. They can really solidify that tonight.
Gentlemen, that brings us to our final game to feature here tonight on Friday Night Lights here on Lundberg. And that's the game in which we will have to call at 7 o'clock on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. You can watch it live at 7. The South Fayette Lions 6-2 overall, 1-2 in conference play. Bethel Park 7-1, 2-1 in conference play. And Mitch, that's a game that we talked a little bit about here right at the open when we opened up the broadcast here tonight. It's going to be a good one. This Greater Allegheny Conference, every week in this Allegheny Conference in Class 5A is a showcase game, and tonight here comes another one.
Yeah, and I think that the key to this game is obviously going in just record-wise and what we've seen so far this season. Bethel Park's the favorite. For South Fayette, it's going to come down to Drew Olhorski, the starting quarterback, throwing the football, and he runs a lot too. We got to see him a couple weeks ago. So It's going to depend on him. If Bethel Park can shut him down, the Lions are going to have a tough night.
Yeah, and for Bethel Park, last week, obviously, how do they respond? Such a tough loss, a touchdown score in the last minute against Upper St. Clair. This place was a bonkers atmosphere. It was a really great game, and Bethel just came out on the wrong end of that, but just one play could have turned it their way. They got Ryan Peters back last week. He made a couple of catches. Does his health come back into play? Is he able to really turn it on and be the player that he's been in the past? And you mentioned with South Fayette, it's all about the quarterback play. It's been about the quarterback play at South Fayette for, quite frankly, decades at this point, right? But an opportunity exists as a Bethel Park team that maybe is lacking a little bit of that confidence, that swagger they went through for the first 7 weeks. Can South Fayette get out early? We saw a few weeks ago even there, a Moon team came in determined to play their game plan and caught Bethel Park on their heels, and they almost took away a win from Bethel a few weeks ago. It was Moon. Can South Fayette follow that same formula and get a win tonight?
You mentioned Ryan Peters too. He's been a phenomenal football player here for Bethel Park over the years, so I'm sure they're very happy to get him back, especially in this stretch run. Well, gentlemen, it's time for our picks of the week. The picks that make Mitch nervous, apparently. So,
Start there. We got some good ones this week.
There's no money on the line. There's no bets, but we always like to, of course, have some fun with them. We do have some good ones for this week. Let's save the clips of on tour until we call the game behind us there towards the end. Let's start with Southmoreland and Elizabeth Forward. Who do you like tonight, Vic? The Scotties or Warriors?
Elizabeth Forward's at home. I've been getting texts all day about, and it's true that they have one of, if not the best press box spread
They do.
food in the entire district. But I don't see the Warriors winning tonight. I think the Scotties are going to move to, what would it be, 8-0.
I'm going to make Ed the tiebreaker here. I'm probably going to do that a lot here in this next time. I'm going to take a little bit forward here. I just think that there is a little too much on the line for Southmoreland, and I think their undefeated season stops here. I think Elizabeth Forward comes out of it.
None of us were born in 1979, though I was born in 1980.
You were close.
I'm the closest. These two are way off. But here's the deal. I think for the first time since 1979, the Scotties of Southmoreland, Westmoreland County win this game and win their first conference title since 1979. Woodland Hills, Franklin Regional, Greg, who do you like there?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Woodland Hills here. I think Franklin Regional has been riding a bit of a heater that I think is going to pull off here tonight. I think Woodland Hills is a team, not so much a team of destiny, but certainly a team I think that's playing with confidence. I think their big playability is going to smother Franklin Regional. I think this is Woodland Hills' game.
I'm with Greg. Give me Woodland Hills. I got the opportunity to see both. One played a bad opponent, or a team that has struggled. One played a very good opponent in Upper St. Clair. It's probably blurring my judgment a little bit, but I'm going with Woodland Hills.
I don't think either of you two were around for the great Dr. George Novak when he was the head football coach at Woody High. I was back in the day, and I was a big Dr. Novak fan, as Don Rebel used to always call him, the great doctor. And George Novak, who's since been retired, the all-time head coach of Woodland Hills. I'm going with the doctor in Woodland Hills tonight over Franklin Regional. Penn Hills at North Hills. The battle of the hills. Penn versus North, right? Who do you like there?
Penn Hills. I just have a feeling about that one. Margarelli Stadium's a tough place to play, but I think Penn Hills is riding a hot streak. I think they win that.
Yeah, see, I'm going to disagree there again. I've seen Penn Hills over the last couple of years. They felt just an inconsistency to me. I get it, that wouldn't have around the but maybe one of the biggest of in the entire WPIAL this year. But I like where North Hills is headed. I like the trajectory of that program. I'm going to take the North Hills.
I'm going to go with Greg Smith as well. I like North Hills at home tonight against the Penn Hills Indians. Do you guys ever track these games when you get home late at night on
I do.
I always go back and look. I'm curious how we do.
looked last week. Did pretty good last week. I'm not sure about tonight.
Next year when we do this, we will keep records so that we can keep track. Maybe we put a graphic up on the screen. Before we get to the game tonight that we're calling, let's call the Aliquippa Montour game, the game of the year possibly between those two teams. And Greg, I think you're up. We'll start with you.
Yeah, you know what? I've been going with the consistent programs. I'm taking Montour tonight. I think this is the opportunity that Montour has been waiting for. I think Aliquippa maybe showed a little bit of, coming back down to earth, losing to Penn Hills. And look, I know they were playing up, and I know Penn Hills is a good program. But I don't know. I got a feeling tonight that it's going to be a fun time over in Montour Stadium. And I think the Spartans get it done.
I think that's going to be an awesome football game. And I'm talking like a one-score game. But the Quips are just a program, and we were talking about it earlier with the history. You just don't bet against the Quips, and I'm going with the Quips. So you're going to bring another tie.
Yep.
Well, let's look back here. Montour has not had an undefeated team since 2010. I know you both were born then, but were you still in high school?
I was in middle school.
2010. I was
So Greg was out. I was an old man by then. I was a dad for the first time. How about that in 2010? My soon-to-be 14-year-old Rhino. But anyhow, I digress. You were still in high school, and for Montour, I don't know where I'm going with this. I was just trying to make an age comparison for the year because we talked about 1979 with Southmoreland earlier. I'm not going to have it for Montour tonight. I'm going with the Quips on the road at Montour. I'm with Mitch on that one. So Greg's by himself with the Spartans. So other than the Woodland Hills Franklin Regional game, that's the only one we've swept. Let's talk about the game tonight. The Lions and the Blackhawks here from Bethel Park. As we said, South Fayette 6-2, 1-2. Bethel Park 7-2, 2-1. Mitch, you're up. Who do you like tonight, the Lions or the Blackhawks?
I like Bethel Park. I think it's similar to the South Fayette Upper St. Clair game in the sense that, well, Horsky has a good night. South Fayette keeps it close. But Bethel Park, they need a win tonight. This is such a competitive conference. You can't really afford to slide here. You have Peters Township next week. You had Upper St. Clair last week. I think that Bethel Park gets a needed victory tonight to kind of settle things down and put themselves in a great position for the conference.
Yeah, I agree. Bethel was so close last week. I mean, I think they are refocused. I think that loss to Upper St. Clair definitely is going to give them a kick in the right direction. I actually think Bethel Park will handle this one by a few scores here.
We have our second sweep of the night, folks. I'm going with Bethel Park here at home as well. Been very impressed with the Blackhawks so far this year with everything that we've seen. So all three of us liking Bethel Park here at home against South Fayette. All three of us liking Woodland Hills on the road at Franklin Regional. And they were 2-1 on Southmoreland, Elizabeth Ford, Penn Hills, North Hills, and Aliquippa, and Montour. Gentlemen, thank you as always. Enjoyed it. We'll do it again here soon. Greg Smith, Mitch Montani, Ed Troop signing off for now. Real quick, we do have a comment from, I think it's Tori out there. It says the trees behind the visitor side look beautiful here at Bethel Park Stadium. I agree, Tori. Absolutely. Fall foliage in full effect.
You cannot ask. I was walking into the stadium and it was like, this is why we do it. I mean, you could not have asked for a better night here.
And this is a great atmosphere here. I know we're doing the long Pittsburgh goodbye. I always joke about it on the Three Rivers podcast. We had Rob King on this past week, and I think Rob and I went on for another 15 minutes before we said goodbye. Here we go again. But this is a great place to come catch a high school football game. The atmosphere, they're cooking out. The place is usually packed. Bethel Park's a great place to watch a football game.
Absolutely. And this should be an awesome game tonight. And it's cool to see people ready to roll, people fired up. They got a big conference game tonight. They have the playoffs in the future. Awesome to see.
Hey, let's give Bethel Park the credit they deserve. It's no Elizabeth Ford, but they always got a great spread for the press box crew up here. So hats off to Bethel for their hospitality.
See what's important, folks, to the media up here in these high school football games? It's the food. It's not the contest. It's the food. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Week 8 across the WPIAL. Make sure that you stay logged on to the Triple I High School Sports Network and Lundberg right here throughout the night and throughout the weekend. We will have the Steeler postgame show on Sunday right here on Lundberg after the Steeler-Jets Sunday night game. And joining me and Brian's out, but I got the backup in. Dawn Rebel. That's right. Dawn Rebel will be joining me on Sunday night after the Steeler-Jets game to break it all down for you right here on Lundberg. And Rich Walsh will be joining us on the Three Rivers podcast next Tuesday here on Lundberg to talk all kind of sports in his career as well. We're going to leave you with a shot here for Bethel Park High School and that foliage we talked about behind us. We'll see you next week, everybody.